What up? Half-Life 2 has always had a huge amount of praise from people over the world. Even if it isn't a big topic of discussion of today, it's still revolutionary. Even so, getting its 20th anniversary update has introduced a whole wave of new people to this game and its world of mods. Now, games and modding have been a huge thing on the internet. People have always tweaked games to how they want, creating communities just to do that, even if this leads to the most degenerate things you can ever think of.
And then,
And Half-Life 2 is no exception to this. Even with the most basic knowledge of Half-Life 2, you'll know that the game is built on something called the sourceengine, a game engine created by Valve to specifically run Half-Life 2. And with this engine comes the Hammer Editor, the headache-inducing, trauma-creating software that source engine maps are created on. And because Valve is the absolute king of the video game industry, they allow you to upload your own mods onto the Steam page or Steam Workshop. Now, after looking through the Steam store, a certain Half-Life 2 mod caught my ape-brain attention, that being Half-Life 2 Year-Long Alarm. Reading over the game's store page gives what I think is a good summary of what the game entails. Quote, Year-Long Alarm is a free single-player mod for Half-Life 2 Episode 2. The mod takes place during Half-Life 2 Episode 1 timeframe, where the Combine have chased Gordon Freeman to an abandoned mine outside City 17. Use everything at your disposal to dispatch the Combine and escape their grasp. The mod itself was made by a guy named Chuck Wilson, which after doing a bit of searching around, is a game developer who has had experience in the industry, working with big names such as Sucker Punch Studios and ID Software, just to name a few, even working with Valve themselves now. Now it's about time we move on to the mod itself. Upon loading the game and selecting New Game, we are presented with one chapter which entails two maps, YLA_bridge and YLA_mine. The first thing you are greeted with upon loading the game is what seems to be an old warehouse, along with a city scanner that blinds you within the first 5 seconds of playing. Just behind the player is an elevator which is powered by a cable and can be turned on in the room above. In that room, you'll also find the crowbar, however activating the elevator alerts the Combine of your position. Escaping just in time, the elevator closes and slowly descends. Although, something stops the elevator, derailing it as it crashes onto the platform below, giving Gordon a slight case of serious brain damage. Stepping out of the elevator will trigger almost an opening scene to the main part of the map, that being the old mining complex. Taking into account the many corpses around the map along with a few zombies, it's not too hard to presume that this place was taken over a while ago. Although, even through all of this, some poor bastard still found the time to be able to sit back and relax and have a cold one. Just off to the left, after a head crab jump scares you, is a dormant zombie that awakes. Quickly bee-hopping over some broken stairs, the player steps onto the second platform with another elevator. This time, the switch to turn it on is in a blocked off room with a zombie inside. Making your way around the elevator and crawling through a couple of vents like it's 2021, the player is able to flip the switch and power the elevator. Going through a back room with a few zombies leads up to one of my favorite gimmicks of the mod. In a small fenced off mine area is a couple of zombies along with a few metal beams hooked onto a track on the ceiling. Using the gravity gun, you can push the metal forward, mowing down the zombies and knocking down the fence to progress forward. In my opinion, this seems like the sort of thing that Valve would have shown back at E3 for the Source engine. Heading down into the elevator, you're met with a dead rebel with a shotgun. A little further up is a room to the right. If you look hard enough, you can see one of the few G-Man sightings in the mod, which I totally missed by the way. Up ahead is a small little area with a series of pipes that the player can follow, leading to another one of the metal beam gimmicks. This time, however, there are way more zombies to mow down and kill. Going up a metal staircase on the right brings the player to a small office with a window missing. On the other side is a platform, which following it will take you to another part of the old mine. Going through and breaking a few of the boarded up areas leads you to an encounter with a group of Metro cops, jumping out from around the corner to ambush you. If you can kill the first Metro cop without taking too much damage, you can pick up the SMG and rush in like an absolute psycho.
I regret nothing.
Continuing a little further past the Metro cops is a small little area down the bottom with another Metro cop and manhack. Jumping down will cause a headcrab to jump out of the vent just above you. Now, I'm not joking when I say this, but it took me about like 3 minutes of my first playthrough to figure out that you had to go off into the room on the right, grab a grenade from the supply box, and throw a grenade into the vent to blow open the door. I had completely missed this, since the explosive barrels behind the door are a little hard to see, and this sort of puzzle is going to become more frequent as the player progresses. Once the player makes their way up a set of metal stairs, there will be a building with a tunnel inside that leads to a new area via a hole in the wall. On the other side is a small fight between some Combine and zombies. The player can use this to their advantage to make their way to a small shack on the right. Inside is a supply box of grenades, and just outside is a ladder going up to a platform. Looking down, you'll see that there's an elevator near the middle of the area, of course needing to be connected to a power source. Back up above is a missing power lead connected up next to a vent. Now with prior knowledge, the player can throw a grenade into the vent, knocking off the cable. While this has happened, more Combine have entered the area, making this particularly dangerous if you hadn't noticed where they are. After either killing the Combine or evading them, the player can connect the lead and flip the switch present in the small building off to the left, calling the elevator down. Entering the elevator will transition the player to the next map. Once the elevator has reached the top, the player can turn around and see a makeshift Combine hideout, full of different goodies that you can collect. Exiting the building will alert the Combine of your location. A group of Combine soldiers pop out from behind the rocks, dealing huge amounts of damage if you don't react in time. Further along is a tunnel system that goes underneath a set of stairs. In one of the rooms is a couple of Combine soldiers standing over a body pit, presumably the last few rebels that were hiding out here. Going up a ladder at the end of the tunnels will take you to one of the connected buildings next to the bridge. Just outside, however, is a Combine soldier that clotheslines the player, one-shotting you if you're on low enough health. Around the corner is a group of Combine stacked on top of a few train carts, shooting you from all different angles. If you looked around the place, you'll be able to see a few flammable barrels. Shooting them will knock off the logs and kill a couple of Combine in the most comedic way possible. After a few more Combine soldiers, the final puzzle of the chapter is presented, which funnily enough, is another grenade and vent puzzle. Making your way through the door and up the stairs will lead to a Combine control panel, deactivating the Combine force field at the bridge. Immediately after, a zombie charges at the player, opening up a room on the left with a few extra boxes of goodies. Jumping down on a train car and walking on the bridge will trigger a gunship to spawn, as loud sirens are heard. The player can find a rocket launcher along with a supply box of rockets on the bridge. The best way in my opinion to kill the gunship is to hide behind one of the log carts or the train cart, firing off to the side and coming out just in time to see the gunship and hit it possibly. Once the gunship explodes, the screen fades to black as the credits play, ending the mod and taking you back to the menu. Overall, I gotta give it to the mod. It's pretty faithful to the source material. Both maps are really well created, looking pretty close to what I think Valve would make themselves. If you gave this to the average Joe who had only seen small snippets of Half-Life 2, they'd 100% think that this is something straight out of the game. The puzzles were pretty creative and some of the gimmicks I really liked as well, even though I was a bit slow in figuring them out. I'd say that if you're a big Half-Life fan, you should definitely check this out. It's free on the Steam store and also on the Half-Life 2 and Garry's Mod workshop. All links will be present in the description of the video. And hey, thanks for watching my video, and until next time, see ya.